Hello, YouTube watchers. Welcome back. This video is a continuation of the last video I did, Visits to Chris, Family Edition, and kind of a bridge to the upcoming video, which will probably be titled Phone Calls from Chris. So I came across a letter sent on behalf of Cindy Watts by an attorney going by the name Kay Almond, and it was sent to the presiding judge in the Chris Watts case. And it came a few days after their visit with Chris at Weld County Jail, where Cindy claims she felt threatened and her son was being denied his constitutional rights. And I believe at this time they were advised they could speak at Chris's next court hearing under the Victims' Bill of Rights, which they did. So I'm going to go ahead and just read this letter, and it was sent on November 12th, so about a week after they had their visit with Chris. Judge Kopkow, I am writing to you on behalf of Cindy Watts, the mother of Christopher Watts. Since the time of Chris's arrest, his entire family has been denied contact with him. They attempted to contact him by phone, by email, and in person, and were denied by the public defender's office each time. The night before the hearing, they were allowed to visit for 30 minutes each, father, mother, and sister, which is the first contact they've had since arrest. During the meeting, his mother attempted to ask him if this was what he really wanted, a plea deal, and was told, do not ask him that or we will shut this shit down now, by the attorney present. They have felt threatened and bullied when all they want to do is see their son and make sure this is his plea, since that is not what his original confession was. The family feels that Chris has been coerced into making this confession. He has been isolated the entire 3 months and had contact with no one except the attorneys and his jailers. The family feels he has been told by the public defender that he has no other options than to take this plea deal and has therefore accepted his fate. However, they don't actually know the facts since they are not allowed to speak to Chris. Since the November 6th hearing, the family has called the public defender's office numerous times, and they have been rerouted each time to a social worker. It is the opinion of Mr. Watts' family that he has been coerced, he has been denied his constitutional rights, and more, all in an attempt to quickly close this case. They want to have a new attorney speak to Chris on their behalf to determine if this is a true confession or one that was based on inhumane treatment at the hands of the public defender's office of Weld County. If they had not been denied access to Chris, then they would not be forced to contact you for equal justice for their son. Today, Mrs. Watts left 2 voicemails with your office, which is closed for the holiday. She would like to speak with you about this matter and to find out why their family is being denied access to Chris and to make sure he is receiving fair treatment under our Constitution. Her number is blank. She will accept your call at any time and is aware I have reached out to you. Thank you for your time, Kay Almond. I don't know why Chris couldn't speak to his family. If there are any listeners that know, please share in the comments below. I also came across an interesting article in People magazine, so consider the source. I can't speak to their journalistic integrity. It's dated November 6th, the day of the guilty plea. So it starts, the Colorado dad, Chris Watts, did not want to plead guilty to murdering his wife and 2 daughters, a source close to him tells People. Now, I'm not sure how a source got close to him if his family was denied contact. Anyhow, it continues. But his lawyers helped him realize that, given the extensive evidence against him and his own damning behavior during the investigation, he had little choice. Their evidence against him was overwhelming, the source says of Watts, 33, who first drew national attention when he was charged with killing wife Shanann, 34, and their daughters Bella and Celeste, not long after giving interviews claiming they were missing and pleading for their safe return. Later, in police custody, Chris claimed that he killed Shanann in a rage in their home in Frederick after witnessing her killing Celeste when he said he wanted to separate, according to his arrest affidavit. There was physical evidence and his own words that would convict him. The source close to him says, his story didn't work. He got angry. He didn't want to plead guilty, but he realized he had no choice considering the evidence. It took a little bit of time for him to come around, but he did. Speaking with reporters on Tuesday, not long after Chris pleaded guilty to 9 charges, including first-degree murder, Weld County District Attorney Michael Rourke said that they were approached several weeks ago by Chris's defense team about a possible plea, not the other way around. The decision was made about 4 days ago to take an execution off the table, which was the maximum possible penalty Chris faced if convicted, Rourke said. In exchange, he agreed to plead guilty. Chris had to come to terms with reality, the source says. He didn't like it at all, but he's smart enough to know that his back was against the wall, and the best thing for him to do was to plead guilty. Still, coming to terms with pleading to something he had previously denied in an unusually quick about-face for high-profile cases was not smooth. There was some yelling and some crying, the source says of Chris, but eventually he acknowledged that his life was over after killing Shanann. He would have been facing years of legal challenges, and best-case scenario, he would have been acquitted. Worst-case scenario, he gets put to death. The source continues, even up until last week, it wasn't clear if he would change his mind. He certainly could have, but he made the right choice for him, and probably the right choice for his family. The presiding judge, Marcello Kopkow, to whom the earlier letter was addressed, made the following statement after sentencing Watts to 5 life sentences without the possibility of parole, 48 years for the unlawful termination of a pregnancy, and 36 years for the disposal of the victims' bodies. Not sure if that's meant to be served consecutively or concurrently, but I guess it doesn't matter. So he says, I could objectively say that this is perhaps the most inhumane and vicious crime that I have handled out of thousands of cases that I've seen over 17 years. And nothing less than a maximum sentence would be appropriate, and anything less than the maximum sentence would depreciate the seriousness of this offense. This is Liz Powers. She's the victim's rights advocate appointed to represent the Watts family with their victim impact statement. I'm going to play a video clip where she makes an opening statement on behalf of the Watts family. This speech is relevant to this video, but also my upcoming video where I'll probably include a shorter clip. I'll explain the relevance after this clip.
Does Cindy or Ronnie Watts wish to make a statement under the Victims' Rights Amendment? Good morning. Are you Ms. Powers?
Good morning, Your Honor.
And if I can have you folks introduce yourself for the record.
I'm Cindy Watts.
Ron Watts.
Thank you. And I have authorized you to make a statement to the court as paternal grandparents of the children. And if you choose not to make a statement, but your designee, Ms. Powers, chooses to, she can do so as well. How would you like to proceed today? Who's going to be speaking today?
Your Honor, initially, they've asked me, and they're hoping that they have the strength to speak, but if they do not, they've written out their statements and asked me to finish for them.
That would be fine. Who would like to go first?
If I could start, Your Honor. On behalf of the Watts, Your Honor, and to the community, we thank you for the opportunity and the recognition under the Victim Bill of Rights. We come today as the grandparents and the parent of the daughter and children whose life was taken in this case. We are not here to ask for leniency. We are not in any way condoning or tolerating the crime that has occurred and the pain that has been caused. We join in our daughter-in-law and grandchildren's family in saying this should never have happened. This is not condonable. This is something that we will never get over. We appreciate the consideration that everyone has paid, most especially the families that have lost everyone. We appreciate that they begged for Christopher's life. We agree and echo what they have said, that it is not his place to take anyone's life, nor would it be our place as a community to take his life. So we thank you for the opportunity and for every consideration and effort that's been put out. The prosecution in this case has in fact respected the Victim Bill of Rights. They took the time to explain that the information that my clients had at the time that they were interviewed was not correct. They were misinformed. They were searching for answers. They were not intending to cause any pain to anyone. And they appreciate that the prosecution answered their questions and gave them the time and the respect and the consideration so that they could tell this court and everyone in this community that the interview content was not their message, that they accept that their son has done this, that they accept that he chose to plead guilty, that he sought and requested their consent and agreement for a life sentence. They appreciate that he is given the opportunity to serve that life sentence. It is his responsibility, it is his sentence, and it is not enough to make up for what has done. We understand and we join the family in that we have questions. We don't know how such a thing could possibly happen, or that a man that was responsible for raising his children and protecting his wife would take the steps that he did, and that he would disregard their bodies and the love that he had for them and they had for him and everyone else, and take the gestures and put this community through the investigation and the discovery and the responsibility of bringing justice. We do not understand that. We do not think it was appropriate. We cannot begin to think that an explanation will ever justify it. My clients indicate that they understand that a full opportunity for a confession with all of the responsibility and accountability has not occurred. And they support the family and the request that that happen, if not today, at an appropriate time, in an appropriate manner, so that everyone can have peace, to understand to the best of their ability the details that they need and to have their questions answered. And by giving this opportunity of a life sentence, we hope that he embraces that moment, that had the death penalty been pursued, there would not have been an opportunity to be accountable and to give a full confession. And had the death penalty been sought, counsel would have fought for his life, the prosecutors would have been engaged in a multiple-year battle, the families would have been torn apart, this community would have had to subsidize it and endure it, and we have so much respect and gratefulness that that did not happen. We would strongly encourage Christopher Watts to give that full confession in the tone and in the timing that he thinks is appropriate with the guidance of his counsel. We feel that it would be appropriate and helpful to ease the pain and the suffering. But we also say we don't think that there's anything that he can say that will ever account for his behavior. There's nothing that can be done to cure the harm he has caused. And he has the responsibility to serve his sentence with dignity and with regard for everyone, and to spend every breath that he has left in an atonement for what he has done. Do you want to read it? Yes.
Cindy had some very strong thoughts on what Liz said. Be sure to subscribe and hit the notification button for my next upload to hear exactly how she felt. I'm aiming to get that video up for this coming Tuesday morning. And I'm still working on that love triangle timeline video that I mentioned previously, but I keep going down these new rabbit holes. Must be my ADD. Anyhow, thanks for watching. Press the thumbs up button to like, and I look forward to your comments.